Hi there, what's going on? It's House, BestRevenueWriter.com. I have a unique one for you today. This is a topic that very rarely gets talked about. Those who are deep in the trenches have undoubtedly been struggling with this specific problem, so this one's for you. I came across this on Sales Hacker, and it's an issue about getting your email caught in the spam filter. Now, back in January, I had actually done an experiment on this where I measured it over about a month. I ended up including the responses in this video, but I can tell you that some of those findings would suggest it's not just you, that there isn't some hidden message that you're missing out on. It all comes down to understanding the algorithm that you're trying to pass. Now, many have Gmail servers, so their big issue is trying to create an email, this is specifically for cold emails, that someone would want to open, delete it, and put it in the spam folder. Their goal is to not get marked as spam. Sometimes it's unavoidable. Unfamiliar name in their inbox, automatically they would see as spam sometimes. That's just part of the game. So what I did was I took 100 tabs in a Google Excel sheet, all with different verticals, and each one of them had 100 prospects in it. And I measured it over a 1 month span. And what ended up happening was this. At first, my deliverability rate was the low 60s, depending on which tab that you looked in, but on average, the low 60s. And then as the follow-ups started to increase, that's when I started noticing more bounce backs, so the second follow-up email. And that rate ended up by the end, as soon as I went to about 4 or 5 touch points, that rate was dropping to about 10%. That could come from people just not opening the email in general. This does not work anymore. It's outdated, not just because it's ineffective. In this day and age, personalization is everything, but also from a technical perspective that you can get your domain blacklisted. But we didn't get blacklisted, we did get an angry letter saying that we need to cease this activity because we've been marked too many times as having suspicious activity on the account, and that came from the abnormally large amount of outreach. It is a big problem that people are dealing with. The way to get around this is by mixing up your touch points. So if you're one of those people that hate the phone, you're gonna have to pick that up. If you're one of those people that refuse to be on social media, say that is a bad idea. You gotta get on social media for direct messaging. Around it at the moment until there's a system where people can say, okay, this is sender reputation is good. The one man had mentioned that doing the mass blast was completely ineffective.
As you can see, this is the sales hacker discussion in question. So it says, hey all, my Gmail is disabled due to violating the Google Workspace acceptable use policy. By taking out a list, the only policy it could have violated would be to generate or facilitate unsolicited bulk, yada yada. Her emails are not getting through to the recipient. She's getting bounce backs. She also had her domain deranked, marked as spam too much. Her outbound emails were going to spam. And then she ended up having to actually start a whole other account. And see, that's why getting marked as spam is pretty risky. He says even improving her outreach that fewer people mark her as spam is a priority now. And this gentleman says that he used the spray and pray approach, which is mass blasting as we talk about, and that anecdotally Gmail's arbitrary limit is 500 a day. So if you're only sending 85 in a week, not sure how that's breaching the barrier. He recommends only sending 20 or fewer a day. So you can see the advice that I'm giving you, even though this is directly referencing one isolated incident, you could see that the other people in this thread are also going through the same problem. So that's where this discussion came from in the first place. If you're doing a lot of cold outreach, undoubtedly you will come across this at some point. So make sure that you're putting a lot of TLC into those emails, personalizing it, making sure that you're actually reaching your intended target. Make sure to subscribe, follow, like, share the Revenue Writers podcast for more premier audio and video content for the marketing, sales, and business professionals of today.